I'm Claire McCaskill, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by McCaskill for Senate.
At the KSMO Studios, 1340, it's time for our Conservation Thursday. And we have everybody here today. We were shocked. We actually had our friends from the Conservation Department get in here. Jace got here. And we've got Tom Haines, and Tom's back at it. He ran in here like crazy. Well, maybe he was just crazy for running in here.
Right.
Anyway, so the knee's doing better, though, right?
Yes, the knee's doing a lot better. I find myself, like I told you, in that scenario where if I don't do anything, it hurts a lot more the next day. And if I just get up and walk and do things, it feels better the next day.
Yeah,
so
there you go. Then the weather like this kicks in, and you'll feel it even more.
Well, I haven't noticed that yet. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Give it time.
Okay.
Give it time. Very good. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about here. It's that time of year where things get a little bit busy, especially on the conservation side, so I'm glad that Jace can make it in. So thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
We have a whole bunch to talk about with you, and of course nobody's in such a big hurry to get out of here since we're getting our nice rain. We could use the rain, and right now we're getting a nice little, I won't say downpour, but a nice steady rain for the most part. It has been. We had some heavier pockets, but people, please be careful out there if you are driving around. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's going on in our national forest. And of course, we all know that with the hunting season coming up, people forget that they can hunt in the national forest, but it is following the rules of the Missouri Department of Conservation.
That is correct. The state of Missouri controls all of the fish and wildlife in the state. And so you have to be in line with them. If you were to come out to the forest, let's say 4 weeks ago, and I was out there too, and I heard a gunshot go off and spun around in time to see you loading that deer in the back of your truck, all I could give you a ticket for is not being legal within the state. And then I'm going to call Mr. Midyett. Jason, I got somebody out here you need to talk with. Jason's going to come out, he's going to get your rifle, he's going to get your deer, and he may even take your vehicle and then the ticket on top of it. So, did I miss anything?
Maybe more than one ticket.
Oh, maybe more than one ticket, okay. So,
Depends on how he feels that day.
That's right, so anyways, but for us, as long as you have your license and you're legal with the state of Missouri, you're more than welcome to come out to your national forest and enjoy your hunt. And I'm still surprised by the number of people that don't realize they're welcome to camp anywhere they want on the national forest, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
Right. Let's also go, and while we're on the hunting part, Tom, because I wanted to get to this, you're going to start having a lot more people doing scouting. Right now it's bow hunting season, and you have people that want to put those deer stands up. And this is very important, and listen closely to this, because if you don't follow the rules, you may not have that deer stand there anymore, and you may find another ticket.
That is correct. And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong here, you're permitted to put your stands up 2 weeks prior to season, rifle season?
Yeah, September 1st, they're able to put them up, and then they're able to leave them up
all season long,
as long as they're labeled with a name and address or their conservation number.
Yeah, and then they're permitted to stay up 2 weeks after season, right? And then they have to come down. And I will tell you that, yes, we find them out there. They're up there year-round. If you know of a tree stand that is that way, don't occupy it. Because if we are keeping an eye on it, because it's been up there too long, outside of season.
Has no identifying
marks on it. When we come and find you there, we assume it's yours. So if you know of such a tree stand, don't occupy it. Leave it for whoever stuck it there. That's just a CYA.
Right. Now, a lot of the deer stands today are easily equipped without nailing into the tree, making any permanent marks on the tree at all,
that is correct.
Which is great. And that's the kind of deer stand you need. Some of the older deer stands, though, you had to actually secure them to the tree, and that is not something you can do in the forest, and that could lead you to yet another ticket.
Yeah. Now, you are permitted to chain it to the tree.
Chain is
But
fine.
again, you're not damaging the tree.
I'm talking about permanently securing it with those bolts.
Right.
Or some people use screws, and that's damaging the tree.
And the reason for that is, let's say you do that and you hunt for 5 years, and it's been there. We just never caught up with it. And then year 6, you decide you no longer want to hunt. Year 7, we decide we want a timber sale. And that log goes to the mill.
And they find a nail.
And
or a screw,
not only
or
find a nail,
bolt.
but it tries to go through their milling operation,
Right.
and someone gets hurt because it hit that piece of metal.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen. That's the reason a lot of the local mills, you'll see them like at Timber Fund Days.
Right.
Why we don't take trees from yards.
Right.
Because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
full of nails, and the equipment can't handle that stuff. So that's another reason we don't want those in there.
Yeah, very good. So, but hunting season, it's open. Your forest is open to you. Come on out and enjoy, because boy, this right now, getting ready for that beautiful time of year when the leaves are going to start changing. We really haven't started to change to it. I saw a few leaves fall, but they're still pretty much green. I know it's my yard. I've been looking around, just starting to see a little hint of change, but it'll happen very soon, and this rain will really help things out.
Yeah. And, please be aware that, the U.S. Forest Service and Missouri Department of Conservation work very closely hand in hand. And because, we had a situation years ago where somebody was harvesting witch hazel. Well, it's not against Missouri law to do witch hazel, but they were also doing ginseng. And it is against Missouri law to do ginseng. So after Missouri got finished with them, they called us up. Hey, we got somebody down here you want to talk with. And so they got another ticket, So we do work very, very closely with one another. Just be aware of that.
But the best thing is, before you do anything, just call your office.
Please.
Or contact the Department of Conservation. Just see, is this okay? Can I do this? And if they say no, and you definitely want to try and get the name of the person that told you can't
Right.
or can't. But also, if you're not sure, stop on in, and they can. If you can't find it anywhere, a lot of times you can put that question into Google and it comes up with an answer right away. But if you can't find it, contact either your office or the conservation office. You can call the one in Jeff City if they want to, and get an answer as to can I or can I not do this.
And that's a very good point. And I wouldn't trust Google.
No.
Because if
No.
you were to Google, can I put a tree stand up and leave it during hunting season, the National Forest in Alabama, the answer is no. You have to pack that tree stand in every day and pack it out every day. Missouri, you are blessed. And it's because we follow the rules of the state of Missouri sets.
Yeah. So, anyway, but do make that call before you go cut timber or do anything like that, because there are rules to follow. And speaking of firewood cutting, Tom, it's that time of year where people want to do that. There's a lot of down logs. You can come and get a permit.
Yes, you can. It's only $5 a cord. This is for personal use. Minimum 4 cords. So that's $20. We're talking about cords now. We're not talking about rank, okay? Or ranks. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, rank.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
rank.
Yeah.
Truly no measure to a rank.
No, there isn't. And that's the issue. And if you look at Missouri's laws, the legal standard of selling firewood is by the cord. 4 foot tall, 4 foot deep, 8 foot long.
Right.
When I first got here and they were telling me about ranks, and I'm like, well, what's a rank? They said, well, it's 4 foot tall, 8 foot long, and by however long you want it cut. So, Stan, if you wanted your firewood cut at 12 inches, okay, and I wanted mine cut at 18 inches, and we're paying the same amount of money, who got the better deal?
Let me think.
Yeah, and that's the way it works,
Oh, yeah.
So you can come in and, we have a cheat sheet for you if you know what you want, so you can know what a full cord is by how long you cut it, because we want people to get what they paid for.
Sure.
And we have what we call a universal permit. If you know there's 5 trees down the road from you, we'll give you a universal permit. You can go there, you can take those 5 trees, and if you see a 6th one, going to church the next Sunday, and you haven't got your 4 cords yet, you can go get that 6th one, even though it's someplace different,
Right.
We also have commercial permits, and they're 50 cords for $50, and typically we assign you a spot for that. But come in, see Mr. Dave Massengale, we can get you hooked up. No muss, no fuss.
Okay, very good. Now, we all know sometimes those cords end up being commercial. We hope that doesn't happen, but don't bring a commercial truck in there. This
Right.
is for, unless it's the commercial permit.
Right, yeah.
But we know some of those residential people will go in there and they'll get a permit. We know that. It's going to happen because even if I buy it or I get it for myself and somebody comes up, hey, man, I really need your wood. Well, they may sell it. So that's
Well,
not the intent of this.
No, and when you think about it, 4 cords for 25, 50 cords for 50. We had a gentleman come in about 3 weeks ago. Same scenario he is hit with, but he burns a lot of wood.
Right.
And he was looking at buying 2 permits. And I'm like, get the commercial. Because if your grandma wants some, you can give it to her. If somebody in church wants to buy some from you, you can do it. And it hasn't cost you a dime more.
Right.
You know, it all comes down to efficiencies and money. So,
Right. You know, and then when you think you go to St. Louis and a cord of wood is $110. $110 for a cord of wood.
you know,
That's a pretty good profit.
yeah.
Of course, you gotta go cut the wood. You gotta put it in your truck. You gotta take it up there, and you gotta stack it or unstack it for those people. But still, $110 for a cord of wood, and then that was the last price I saw in St. Louis. For
Well, and the other thing about it
but
is-
not around here. You're not gonna get
Yeah.
that.
It's also a great family opportunity to have a picnic.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You know, I mean, there's a social aspect to it
Yeah.
there, or it could be a
Well,
social.
we did.
Yeah.
Our family, my dad would take the boys out. That was a day out with Dad. We did the cutting of the wood, stacking it, and then we, put it in the truck, load it, and then we got back home, and we had like another little picnic, a little barbecue, and we'd unload the wood, and then we have to restack it.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot of work. But still, get the permit. If you're out there and they find you with the chainsaw and you're taking it and you don't have that permit, and you're talking $5.
Yeah.
The ticket's a little more than $5.
Oh, yes, and tickets will approach 200 bills. And the other thing about it is when you buy that $20 or $25 permit, okay, or I guess it's $25 a cord. Yeah, I need to learn to add. 25% of those dollars come back to Denton County for roads and schools.
Sure.
If you go out there and steal it, Denton County doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a good thing.
Right.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Now, if you're camping, you don't need to get a permit to burn the wood that's there. That is yours to burn as long as it's down. Don't go cutting trees down.
Exactly.
But if the trees already fell and you would like to go ahead and use that for your campfire wood, go ahead and do it.
Right. Yeah, you're more than welcome to. You do not need a permit for that. So.
And this rain makes it nice now because it's getting a little dry out there for a while.
Yeah.
It's getting close. So this has been a nice little soaker rain. This is a good one. All right, let's talk a little bit about getting this time of year, Tom. A lot of people start thinking about when they go camping that the weather starts changing in Missouri rapidly. We want to remind people. Still a lot of no cell service in our national forest. We remind people that not everything is a road that you can go down and have access to. You got to remember these things when you're out and about. But the big thing is let people know where you're going to be and how long it's going to take you.
Right. Yes, that is very, very important. And again, I hate to bring up the tragedy that happened. Was it 4 years ago
I'm
now?
thinking 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, a gentleman, a beautiful, was it February?
It was.
A beautiful, beautiful February morning. They went
The
on
whole weekend was supposed to be nice,
Yes.
but it changed.
It changed instantaneously, and we lost a young man and two of his boys. Left his wife and 2 other children behind. On the national forest. It was tragic, absolutely tragic, and no cell coverage. They did not even have a way to ping his phone to get a cross-reference on where he could be. Because there's no cell coverage. And unfortunately, it rained, the temperatures dropped below freezing, and we lost that family.
Yeah, when you're exposed like that, exposure is one thing, but then when you get wet,
Oh, yeah.
it just, I can't tell you how exponentially it speeds up your process of your body temperature dropping when you get wet. But it's like 4 or 5 times faster.
But if people know where you are, when you plan to be back, it makes it easier for us to find you in case there is an emergency and get you aid.
And also be checking the weather quite a bit. I know we talk about no cell service, and a lot of people rely on their phone. Get with the local people around. If you got radios, listen in. If there's some kind of system coming in, most of the times your local stations will be telling you, hey, we've got a cool front coming through. Be prepared. I wouldn't go venturing out for any length of time. A lot of people just rely on those phones too much time. You have local sources that can help you with that weather situation. Do not try and do it via technology on its own.
Yeah. And you can't really depend on the technology. We were talking about the storm we're experiencing this morning.
Yeah. They're all wrong.
Yeah, they made a prediction of where they thought it was, and it's not quite following that prediction.
No,
So,
we're the bottom line of this system is supposed to go south. But nonetheless. All right, any control burns coming up this fall?
Yes, we have a series of control burns that we're hoping to accomplish this fall. We have one we call Marcoot South, Hodge Hollow, the Sinkin area, Bunker West, Bunker South, and Bounds Branch, and Loggers Lake. And the reason I brought this map in, I hope everyone can see it.
They can.
Okay. Is because if you're living around those areas and you want to know more about the burn, please come out to the office. We'll be glad to talk with you about it. If you happen to be neighboring it or whatever. You may have already received a notice about it some time ago because, again, we plan these things, but it's all weather and condition contingent. If the weather's not right, we're not burning. If the winds aren't right, we're not burning. If the predicted winds in the evening aren't right, we're not burning, So just because we've planned this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. But on the other hand, we want our neighbors to know what's going on because we want to be a good neighbor. Right. So if you think that you may be affected by one of these burns, come on by the office. We'll be glad to talk with you about it. And we're located right across the street from Crossroads Inn, right on Main Street, 1301 South Main, or call the office at 573-729-6656.
You have ample parking.
Oh, you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes, that was Jimmy Kaminsky. So,
You have
yes.
ample parking now. So
Yeah.
extra space for those vehicles to park in for the Forest Service. So now you can actually park.
Yeah, because we were packed.
It was pretty tight there for a while. So, and especially if you have any kind of allergies or respiratory problems, please let the Forest Service know so they can contact you. Because as you mentioned, Tom, it might be that morning you make the final decision for the go.
Right.
And I know we might get a fax or a call at 8:30. We're burning at 10.
Right. And, and we had a situation last year where they were planning to burn over on the Potosi unit. Again, the wind direction was not correct. They jumped up, totally changed their minds, came all the way down to the Salem unit because the winds were correct for that burn, and we burned that day.
I remember that.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's we're flying by the seat of our pants, and we're just trying to take advantage of the conditions that Mother Nature gives us.
Right. And some of these have been scheduled for a couple years.
Yes.
So it's starting to backlog, and we need to try and get them done. And maybe we'll get a couple of weeks of perfect conditions. We get some of these in and get them off the books.
Well, Kevin Wilson, our fire management officer here in the zone, he says 2 weeks. And that's all if it doesn't come together in 2 weeks, conditions have gone haywire one way or the other. It's either too dry to burn or it's too wet to burn. And so our window is very small.
It's that way in the spring, too.
Yeah.
Not a very big window.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll do what we can. Very good. All right. So some control burns may be in the offing in the near future. So be listening in. Once we know, we let you know.
Yeah,
And
we
we'll
do
also
call.
get
We do call KSMO radio.
Right,
And let them
and
know.
we will put it on Facebook as well to make sure it's out there. We'll put it on our website as well so people can know. But do be listening in. If you hear it, then you know that control burn is on. And if they would happen to schedule it and cancel it, we'll tell you it's canceled just
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know. All right, the motor vehicle use map. I see you brought one in.
Yes, you noticed the date on it.
I did. I saw the date on it, 2018.
Yes.
At first, I thought, why are you bringing in that old map? It hasn't changed in 20 years.
Well, if you have a Forest Service map or a topo map, it unfortunately is going to show you every road scar out there on the landscape.
Which there are a lot.
Yes. And as I jokingly say, every ridge has a road on it, you know. Not all of them are legal roads to operate a motorized vehicle on. So the force created this map. It's called the Motor Vehicle Use Map. This particular one is for the Potosi and Salem Ranger District units. We have them for all of the Ranger districts across the force. Fredtown, Ava, Cassville, Donovan, 11 Point, Poplar Bluff, Ava, Cassville. Just call the office. Hey, can you send me a motor vehicle use map? We'll drop it in the mail for you for free.
Free?
We even pay the postage.
What?
Yes. Or you can go online, Mark Twain National Forest, and look it up under maps and publications, and you can pull it up and see. And what this shows you are all the legal roads you can operate a motorized vehicle on. And you will see, if you were to compare it to your topo map, that road may run for 3 miles on a topo map, and then when you look at it at the motor vehicle use map, it only runs for a mile. And guaranteed, when you get out there, you'll see that road running that distance, but stop your vehicle at that 1 mile marker, okay? Unload. You're welcome to ride a horse. You're welcome to walk the rest of that roadway, but you just can't take your ATV, your UTV, your truck, your motorcycle. You just can't take the motorized vehicle any further than that. So, and the map is free.
And the map is free. Now, the map will also tell you how long some of those roads are, where
Yes.
it stops.
Yeah.
And I say stop, and it doesn't look like it stops.
No,
but
it doesn't.
It stops.
Yeah.
So, guys, pay attention to that, because if you venture further, you may find yourself with another one of those little citations
Yes.
that we've been talking about.
And another thing people don't realize about those citations, you don't come to Dent County Court for them.
Oh, you got to go to Cape Girardeau, don't
Cape
you?
Girardeau or St. Louis, depending on where it was issued, because it's a federal offense. So,
Gotta love you.
oh yeah. Well,
But it is true. And the map is brand new. So these
Yes.
are the latest and the greatest. You know, when you mentioned about a road on every ridge, I say more like a trail. A lot of people used to like to walk those ridges, and, you know, then more and more people would then bring horses and different things. And over the years, they got to be wider and wider
Yep.
and wider. So, but remember, those are not areas that you can just go on. You can walk them.
Oh, yes.
You can definitely do all that.
Ride a horse.
Please do not drive them. You know, and some of those areas could be somewhat compromised as well. So definitely want to make sure you just walk them and don't take any heavy vehicle on them.
and again, call the office,
Right.
573-729-6656. We're glad to put one in the mail for you.
Now, we also want to remind people, Tom, that we've talked about it here before about getting your ATV permits for Dent County. Those are now annual permits. They have
Ooh.
changed that. So,
Really?
that's
I did
no
not know
longer
that.
lifetime. Now, if they have a lifetime permit, if you already have it, it's lifetime.
Interesting.
Anything new now, since about a week and a half ago, is every year, calendar year. So if you want to get one for this year, it's only good for a couple more months, but you can get one, and then you had to buy another one for 2019. So
Well,
we want
you
to make
see-
sure that you guys are aware of that, because
Well, I appreciate it. That's why I listen to
also
this
very
radio
important.
station. I'm learning something every day. So,
So we have that, and also our conservation guys are going to be up to date on that right now as well, aren't they?
Yes.
In case they
did
hadn't.
you know that, Jason?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, but that's a new ordinance that they passed here not long ago. But one of the things that when we talk about using the ATVs, but there are a couple ATV parks, one down in Ava
Yes.
and one here out
In
a
Reynolds
little
County.
bit off to our east.
Yeah, Reynolds County. It's called Sutton's Bluff motorcycle ATVs. Probably the biggest thing that people need to be made aware of is the width limitations, which is 50 inches. And so if you are outfitting your rig with new tires that are bigger than the ones you bought it with, you may want to remeasure it, because there are parts where you will not be able to get down the trail, because we build it that way. The bridges are only accommodating 50 inches. The trails are only accommodating 50 inches. And so you want to be able to get down there. The other thing that people should note is, if you're going to go down to Sutton's Bluff and all you're going to do is trailer your ATV up to the trail and ride just the trail, all you need is the Forest Service ATV trail permit. And that can be obtained either at our office or at the 911 center in Centerville, Missouri. They're open 24/7. You can't beat that service.
That's good service.
They do charge, I think, $1 or $2, markup, which goes to a local charity. But they have to buy them at face value. Trust me, you're saving a lot of money doing it that way. And so you only need that to ride the trails. If you're only going to ride the county roads and Forest Service roads on your ATV, you don't need the ATV permit for the trails.
Right.
You're good to go. But if you're going to do both of them, you need both permits.
Right.
So,
And remember, you're in different counties.
yeah, unfortunately, Dent County does not cover Reynolds County. Rent County does not cover Dent County.
Or Shannon County.
Or Shannon. I feel sorry for the people in the bunker area
gotta
because
get one
they're
for each
right
one.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe someday the counties will get together and choose to, especially now that Dent has come along, choose to start recognizing each other's. You know, if the public wants to contact their elected representatives and put that idea in their heads, or go for
Yeah.
it. You know, we're just following up with what the county's rules are.
Yeah, but anyway, but the new county rule is on those ATV permits or UTV permits is they are annual. So you go buy a new permit right now, it's good for the rest of 2018 only, not 2019, not up till October of next year. It ends December 31st, 11/59/59 this year. Okay? Very good. One of the last things I want to talk a little bit about, Tom, is the YCC. Is that going to be coming back to Salem?
As far as we know, well, back to Salem, my money's on it will not.
Okay.
We've gotten some new rangers on the force, and they love the program almost as much as I do.
That's not a good thing.
But like
I guess it is a good thing, but it's not a good thing for us.
yeah. Well, but I would say, you know, call the office, find out which unit it is going to be on. I think Potosi is going to be one of them this upcoming year. And if you're a young person, ages 15 through 18, okay, if you got a grandparent or aunt or an uncle that lives in that community, they can apply for that job. Okay? All we require is that you get to work, okay? We don't really care where you reside. So if you got a family member that lives over in that unit, apply for it.
Sure.
You know.
Oh, we had South
Yeah, South Carolina.
Virginia, what?
Yeah, we had a
he was
young
here and he got it.
Yeah, we had a young man. His sister lived here, and he applied, and his name was selected out of the hat. That's how we choose them. And he moved here. Unfortunately, he fell in love with the area, and his sister told him, "Tough luck, you're going back home." And she sent him back home.
She's tough.
Oh yeah, she was.
Wow. Anyway, but it is open to everybody, and we'll know more and more when it gets closer to time. Obviously, if we'll be getting that program, but it's one of our favorite programs, right here to kind of keep our young people,
Right.
give them an opportunity to see how it's really done, working for a living.
Right.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, very good. You got anything else, Tom?
No, again, if you have any questions, do just call the office, area code 573-729-6656, or drop by the office. We're right across the street from the Crossroads Inn. The only other thing I would add is recently we've had some people expressing interest in, it's called gravel grinding. You heard of that? Bicycle riders on gravel roads. Yeah, it's new to me too. But we have identified a couple routes that folks may be interested in. And the one gentleman who stepped in, we said, well, give it a try and let us know what you think of it. Because, I mean, this is one brand new crazy idea. It's not even a week old yet. So we're waiting for him to do this ride and see what he thinks of it.
Okay.
We've identified two of them on the Salem district.
Really?
Yeah.
How long did it take to figure that out?
Well, really not long. It was funny because as soon as we mentioned it, the Carcagny route or the Trail of Tears route,
Right.
it runs from here down to Centerville. That's one of them. And then what they call the Barren Fork Loop, southern part of the district, and that's a circular one. So those are the two that we've kind of selected. Not a lot of traffic, solid gravel roads, beautiful countryside, and from what they're telling me, people are becoming interested in this type of bicycle riding because it's not as jarring as mountain biking is.
Oh, well, that's true.
And it's more peaceful than trying to ride your bike down
on
these
traffic,
paved roads.
sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so.
But
Well, I was ahead of the curve then back in the 80s when I was a kid. I rode my bike all the time on the gravel roads.
oh yeah, I can see it. But, again, we talk about the Carcagny Trail. There's parts of that you have no cell service. So again, if you are riding your bike, wear your helmet, number one. I know people say, well, I never wore a helmet in my life. Well, you might want to there. You fall down, you don't want to hit your head on anything.
Right.
And definitely self-service is going to be limited at best on that trail.
Yeah.
You'll have areas where it's super strong, and 10 seconds later, it's gone.
Yeah.
So do be cautious. But that'd be a heck of a ride.
Yeah, it's I think round trip approaching 40 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a ride there.
Yeah.
But Jason, go take it and tell us what it's like. This morning. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's get going.
In the rain.
In the rain. You're a guy in shape. Because you were supposed to go get tested today, so.
Right. Yeah,
So
they
I figured
postponed
that
it.
you might
so.
just be, go out there real quickly, do that. You can really find out if you're in shape or not before you go through your training. All right, anyway, but we're glad to have our friends in the Conservation Department here because we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. First off, it's that time of year. We all know hunting season.
Yeah, we have several open right now.
Yeah,
I've
and
got a
then
list.
there's a whole bunch
about
of them.
12.
Yeah, and especially, but the big ones, the bow hunting deer season
Yeah.
right now. Turkey,
Archery, deer, and turkey are open.
right?
And then
you-
fall turkey is now open, firearms.
Right, and fall turkey seasons. Now we're getting ready to get into all these other seasons that Jason's going to tell you about. Go ahead.
Well, right now we have coyotes are open. You know, they're open year round now, except for daylight hours during the April 1st till the start of turkey season. So, and then they switched that a few years back. You know, they closed the season throughout turkey season, but now it's open. You can take coyotes while you're spring turkey hunting, but that season's still open. Groundhogs are still open until December 15th. Squirrel season's still open until February 15th. Bullfrog and green frog they're open till Halloween, October 31st. Dove season, I went down to Mississippi County and patrolled the dove opener the 3 days of the opening of the season, but it's still open until November 29th. Rabbit just opened October 1st through February 15th, but it's been a little warm to hunt rabbits. If you get out there, it's going to be a little
I've got
warm
a
on
lot
you
of
and your
rabbits
dogs.
in my yard. I don't normally have, and so it's interesting.
And then woodcock, it's going to open October 15th, and that runs November 28th. So that's a season that some of the guys who have a pointer or a bird dog of some type, they still like to flush out woodcock and hunt. Crow season will open November 1st and run through March 3rd. We now have a quail youth hunt that opens October 27th and the 28th, so that's the first weekend of that. And then the regular quail season opens November 1st, runs through January 15th. And then, of course, fall turkey season is opened on October 1st and will run till October 31st. And then we have the upcoming deer, firearms deer, and alternative methods and all that, and I'll get into that
Well, we're going
shortly. But then coming up this weekend, summer's kind of wound down, and the fishing activities. We've got gigging seasons now open on the rivers for rough fish, not non-game fish. But then we have the Rose Holland Derby now coming up this weekend,
Right.
October 6th and 7th at Montauk. The whistle for the start of the fishing blows at 7:30 a.m. and it'll run throughout the day till 6:30 p.m. So
Right, and then 7:30 till noon on Sunday.
for the
Rose Holland.
well, yeah, but
mean, it
but
ends
then the
Sunday.
fishing will be open till the
Right, but I mean,
But
if
the
you're gonna be
Derby,
in a
yeah,
Derby,
yeah,
you're going to be
yeah.
registering for the Derby
Right.
that ends at noon.
and so yeah, we're gonna have a few folks come in for that assignment and patrol Montauk this weekend. And but Friday night we have a hunter education skills
You do
session from 5:30 to 9:30 at the
in town.
at the
Salem Community Center at the Armory.
at the Armory.
Is that the
Yeah,
one you were
right.
trying to say?
That's right.
Okay.
That's
Thought it
right.
might be.
Do you have to pre-register for that?
Yes, you need to go online, and then there's a few things you need to do. You need to either complete the book and all the questions, all the review or chapter review questions before you come, or go online, and it'll cost you to do. There's a little bit of a fee to do it online to get that certification that you've been through the material in the book. But you need to either have your book with all those questions filled out, or the
Right.
certificate from taking it
Where can they find
for
the book?
online. The books are available up here at the Indian Trail Archery or the
Ozark Natural and
Ozark,
Cultural Research.
yeah,
I'll
Ozark
answer the
Natural
question.
and Cultural Resource Center.
We got a lot of acronyms, don't we?
Right. So
Oh, I hate those things.
anyway, you can get your books there, and then just make sure you've got enough time to go through that. I think there's 9 chapters to complete the
Today's
questions.
Hunter,
So
isn't it?
yes,
That's
and they'll know what you're talking about if you just tell them you're needing a book for the hunter education course.
okay.
And that is just a skills session, so it just runs 4 hours. We take you through a lot of hands-on, all the actions, all the different types of firearms that you may encounter, how to load and unload those, and
Safety,
the carries,
a lot of safety.
crossing fences and
Yeah.
and obstacles, and then there's some videos that we incorporate into the class. So
Class is free.
it's free, and you're not there the whole. It used to be an 8 to 12 hour course, so we used to have to
Over
be there
2
for
days,
probably
right?
2 days to get it in. So
Yeah, just to have
then
Friday
we've-
night and an all-day Saturday, right?
yeah, that's the way it used to be. But this Friday night, October 5th, and then we also have one on Monday, October 15th, and that'll be the same time, 5:30 to 9:30, over at the community center at the Armory. So
Okay. So
On
remember,
Rolla Road.
You need to go online to register.
yeah,
There-
and if you can't, then call. You can give me a call, and I can get you.
Well, there's a registration number that they actually have online.
Okay.
If you can't
If
get
you can.
through, because
Okay.
at times people have told me I can't get through. It just doesn't go. It just kind of how it sits there and just spins.
Yeah.
The registration vendor number you can call if you can't get it online is 1-888-283-0364. That's 888, not 800. 888-283-0364 from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. That is the registration vendor. So it doesn't matter what one you're going to. You just tell them which one you want to go to, and as long as there's availability,
Yeah.
they can put you in. There are limits to how many people can go to those classes.
Yeah,
out
we
there.
capped it at 30. So last we checked, though, we had plenty of seats available for Friday night's class, and then I haven't looked for the 15th, but I'm sure there's still seats available. So,
Okay,
but
very good. Well,
as the-
15th wasn't online as of the other day.
yeah, it should have been.
It
I
wasn't
gotta,
online.
I gotta.
went on there and I checked, and I was gonna
I'll have to call there.
double check, but I haven't looked today, but it wasn't on there the other day.
Yeah, I know I got an email that it was approved, so they
Well, that's nice. It was approved, but it was not
They-
online. Not
they
gonna
need to
help
get
you
it
much. The one for Friday was
posted
online,
then.
but the one for the 15th was not. So we'll double check that. We can do that before you leave today
yeah.
to make sure.
And then
All
I
right,
guess
so
we can
very
get
good.
into.
So again, don't forget those online education classes. Remember, get the Today's Hunter, fill it out, get that done, get it done ahead of time. So if you're going to do it for Friday night, pick the book up today. Don't try and pick it up an hour beforehand. And try
Yeah,
and
you will
answer the
not be able.
questions. You're not
I
going to
mean,
get it done.
it's quite a bit of material. So
Right. So you want to make sure you get plenty of time to get that looked at, and once you get that all done, bring it with you. Don't tell these guys that I got it home. It's finished. It's full.
yeah,
Go home, get it. Can't do anything without it. So it's on the 5th and the 15th, 5:30, 9:30, Community Center at the Armory. And again, you can make that reservation online. Easy, go to huntfish.mdc.mo.gov and just type in hunter education.
yes, and
Because I looked at the link that Dave gave me, and it's 755 characters long.
the old link was very long. So
Yeah, and I thought-
you can just get on the mdc.mo.gov and it'll pop up. You can scroll down and find Hunter.
You can. You can
Hunter
just type in the
education,
search
so,
box, Hunter
yeah.
Ed, and it takes you there.
Yep.
It is kind of hard to find the registration link, though, because you got to read the whole thing, and it says if you want to go into an online class, where it used to actually show up as a box,
right.
now you got to click on that. So you've got to do an extra step. Somebody who ever designed that should be slapped silly, but that's okay. I'll let you do that. You're bigger than I am. But anyway, it's still there. It's all there. Just give yourself time. Don't be in a big hurry. And then go find the Salem one and click on it, and it should be no problem. Okay. But there's a whole bunch out there. Every county in the whole state's listed.
Yep.
Some of them are at churches, some of them at community centers, some of them are held in schools. It just
Schools,
depends.
yeah,
It
it
depends
depends
on what county you want to go to. So if you can't go to the one in Salem, don't worry. There's other ones out there. There's a couple in RTI next week and in Rolla.
Yep.
They're all over the area. So anyway, but we'd rather have you go to Salem one. It's closer.
Yeah, if you're here in Dane County, you might as well
It's easier. It's
get in our
you get
class.
to see our guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, see our guys.
Yep.
See our guys. Okay,
But
very good.
fall turkey season going on till October 31st. The shooting hours are a half hour before sunrise to sunset. You can take 2 turkeys of either sex, and then in the fall you can take both of your turkeys on the same day. And then you still have to notch your permit and carry your permits in the field, and either by paper or on the phone by app. So, but then still telecheck it by 10 p.m.
Exactly.
on the day taken. So,
Exactly.
And
What was the forecast for the turkeys? I started to read that article.
well,
and
it depends on what part of the state you're
yeah,
in.
it kind of said
they're
it
talking
depends.
about we're in a kind of a downward trend since probably 2007.
But I thought he said the
and-
northern part of the state was very good.
Yeah, they I mean, it depends on the hen to poult ratio, and I started to read it, and it's a long.
It's a very long. That's
So
why
if you
I
want to
didn't
get
read the whole
on
thing
the
myself.
website, you
was
can find it
very
on the
long.
website.
Yeah, you can go if you go to the nbc.mo.gov website. You can click on there, and it
Yeah.
has the whole forecast of the turkey season. So you can go ahead and do that and read that yourself. Give yourself a good 15 minutes to read it.
And then
it
I
was
know
a real long press release.
I know this year we had the cool wet spring. Youth season. We had the snow during a couple of days for the youth season. One of the days, I think that Sunday, it snowed, and that was in April. So, but the cool springs and the wet temperatures, they're not conducive for hens to be able to set and raise their clutch. So, but yeah, and then it just talks about how our statewide population, there's just different trends. Like in the 90s, our population was increasing and then kind of plateaued, and then we've kind of been on a downward trend in the 2000s, and we'll kind of have spikes and valleys in the population. So
Seems kind of weird. Every time I go to Owensville, there's one field out there I can spot 10 to 20 of them every single time I go by, and I'm thinking that's amazing. I mean, a whole bunch, that many in one location. You just think, wow.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch out there. I've seen them on 72. You've seen them. Well, I'm sure you.
Oh,
have
yeah,
too. There's a cluster of them out there. So if you run across them, you got your pick.
in the fall, they're a little easier to hunt,
Yeah.
to call in, because they're younger birds, and usually bust them up and then call them back in. And then, of course, the spring, you're just after the gobblers or the
Right.
males. And, it can be challenging if they're with hens and everything, but in the fall, it's usually a little easier. But a lot of people don't hunt fall. We don't have as many people get out there, but it's not
I
as.
think with the deer hunting season coming
Yeah,
up,
there's
they
just so many
can't
things.
take time off to go turkey hunting
Yeah.
and then go deer hunting.
But you have a whole month in the fall, so but just depends on. Some people don't believe in shooting hens or younger birds, so I mean it's just your preference as a hunter. So
Sure. Now, the deer hunting season, what is the forecast for our area, or do you remember?
well, we've got a tremendous population of deer here in the county. The factor will be our hard mast, our acorn crop. Is better this year. So right now, a lot of people are not reporting seeing deer in the fields, and compared to last year, we did not have a acorn crop, and the deer were utilizing fields
Yeah, they're all
from
over.
September till basically all the way through the summer. They were feeding in the fields, and just wasn't a lot of browse, until the browse got going. But the acorn crop is key component to the deer's diet. So they really like the acorns. So right now you're not going to see them out there feeding on on the grasses and in the fields. So so people may think, oh no, we don't have any deer anymore, but they're still out there.
They're plenty.
And then as the rut approaches, we'll see more movement. Bucks will start chasing those, and then, but with the higher mast years, we usually have a lower harvest just because deer don't have to move as far for food,
Sure.
and so people don't see them as much, and so our harvest tends to go down when the when the mass production is better in this part of the state. So.
Of course, though, if they know where they go, then
Right.
it makes
Yeah.
it
And I mean,
easier.
you just can scout and find a good ridge with white oaks or red oaks or whatever,
And they'll be there.
and they'll be there. And a lot of people utilize trail cameras now for scouting. So,
Sure.
but
Technology has changed the way we deer hunt.
yeah, there's a lot less time sitting out in the field pre-scouting.
Yeah.
Looking at deer trails and things. But with the trail cameras, it's spoiled a lot of people, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just be able to sit
Well, I
there.
was going to say the old days of taking your little stool out there with your thermos of coffee and just watching, to see what happens and see how the deer are moving and getting a good idea where you want to set up. We do remind people that the actual deer hunting firearm season is not all that long, the actual season. Now,
Yeah.
right now, the bow hunting season is
Right.
a long season, but that actual firearm season is not that long. But before that starts, we have a youth season, correct?
Yeah, the youth season is October 27th and 28th statewide, and so that's the early youth portion. And then we'll have a second youth portion November 23rd and 25th, the week of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So they changed it. It used to be in January, and we'd get sub-freezing
cold,
temperatures,
yeah.
and the participation was down usually in that late youth
But they
season.
want it during a holiday period because
Yeah, they
want it
figure
like
there'll be more
Christmas,
people have ample opportunity to be together and
Thanksgiving time.
get
a
out.
little bit better conditions.
and
usually.
yeah, a lot, and it's still just post deer season, so the deer are still active, and the weather was the main factor, just the brutal temperatures in
Right.
January. a
Any
lot of times.
changes in the permitting of deer or
No,
in
but still-
telechecking them?
We still have to telecheck, still have to carry your permits either with the app, the Mow Hunting app. You can carry them on your phone. We're still required to notch it when you harvest an animal. You're required to notch your permit to invalidate that permit, and then telecheck it by 10 p.m. And then if you're hunting, the only other restrictions during the opening weekend is if you're hunting in a CWD monitoring or management zone county, you've got to take it to a location to get it tested and on that opening weekend.
That continues to grow, by the way.
Yeah,
Continues
it's
to add counties, but we're not.
They've
in it.
added, right. Our closest county for the monitoring is Crawford County. The closest positive was Franklin County. So
That's not that far away.
no, and then if you go, I think it's page 6 of our regulations, you can see the map and how it's expanded, even down on the southern border with Arkansas, finding positives just south of our southern border, 13 miles south, I think was the closest one. They've put Berry, McDonald, Stone, Taney, and Ozark, I think, are all in that monitoring zone where they're taking samples. And then we're offering free statewide testing to anybody's deer
Sure.
at 11 MDC offices statewide, and then there's 64 participating taxidermists and meat processors. So I know Scenic Rivers Taxidermy is one of the taxidermists that participates in the CWD sampling. So, but you can take it if you harvest a deer and you are concerned about whether or not it has CWD, you can get it tested before. And get it processed, but then you can hold that deer to see if it comes back positive before you
Sure.
consume any of that. So, but there's a whole section in the regs talking about CWD and the concerns, and then they're asking hunters, to not to move carcasses out of those counties, and then it's just a good idea to not move carcasses or just pitch them out. And a big problem Dave and I see, other agents see in the area, is just dumping them along roadsides in a ditch
Right.
or a creek that may not be running with water, but eventually
It
it's
will
going to
be.
flood and
Yeah.
it's going to move that carcass downstream, or just people throwing them out, down a county road or on a Forest Service road. Where the public can see it, or where people's dogs can get it and just drag it up in there. I mean, I get calls all the time. Somebody killed a deer and my dog dragged the carcass up in my yard. So just be aware as a hunter, that's not an ethical thing to do, is dump it on a county road. And you're just giving anti-hunters ammunition to go after us in our sport. So I know when I was in Phelps County, we'd have carcasses hanging on fences, and just they'd go along and just dump a carcass, hang the hides on somebody's fence. So I don't know whether it was a act of evil intent or animosity toward the person, or they're just doing it to be
Just be mean.
lazy and throw it out
Just throw it out there.
on the roadside. So.
Right. So yeah, you need to be responsible for.
But
your,
they ask, now in those CWD counties, they're even asking, they're recommending people bury the carcass, but depending on where you are or whose land you're hunting on, that may not be possible. But the transporting of those carcasses is what they think spreads the disease. And then they had an interesting article. They showed us Wisconsin has had CWD for a number of years, but they've got a 4-county area that's the highest concentration. But they did a search of all the zip codes where hunters were from that harvested deer from Wisconsin, and deer from Wisconsin in those counties went to all 50 states. So we don't know if those were whole carcasses or any parts of the contaminated carcasses, whether it was boned out meat or whatever. But so the potential now with our modern transportation and the technology, people can travel and
Sure.
and transport carcasses. So that's what they're worried about, is the spread. So
Going to get out there. All right, couple other things. One, when you mentioned about where you're hunting, do not trespass when
Right.
you're hunting. If you got permission from that landowner, make sure that you have permission, but also make sure that if you do have permission, you might want to have something from them that tells you have permission in case you run across somebody
yeah,
that
that's
doesn't
always
know
good.
that you have permission.
Yeah, we've had situations where that's happened. A relative of the family may catch somebody on there, but they don't realize that Grandpa gave permission. Or
Right.
so yeah, get written permission is always best. If you kill a deer and it goes onto somebody else's property, that does not authorize you to trespass. If you're hunting on public land, that it's usually marked where that public land stops and goes on to private. So be considerate of those private owners near those public areas. But
Well, Also, didn't you tell us about a app for people's phone?
yeah, there's a
Tell them when they when they're
there's a
crossing the
couple
property
different
line?
ones, but the Hunt on X or whatever, it's an app. Depending on if the county participates, but here in Dent County, you can look at that app. It's Onyx Hunt, but you can just open the app, and it basically will pinpoint you exactly where you're sitting, and it'll give you the landowners' names. Kind of goes with the plat book of the county, and it'll tell you. Right now, it's showing me sitting right here on 19 Highway at the radio
Boy, it
station.
sure does.
So,
You're
and
a lot
then
better on the phone.
But he does have permission to be here.
Right, he does.
Yeah.
But
but
he's got
yeah,
a firearm down.
Onyx Hunt is one of the apps, and they charge a annual fee. I think it's $30 annually to use it, but you can download up to 5 states, I think, on the app.
$30 is a lot cheaper than
So-
a ticket for trespassing.
Yeah, and then but
Or a very angry landowner, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
but it'll show Forest Service boundaries. It'll show Missouri Department of Conservation boundaries. Just depending on if those counties. There's certain counties in the state that don't participate. It'll still show you where you are on the landscape, but it won't
Right.
give you the name of the landowner or that parcel of land. But yeah, it's a useful tool, and then we use it a lot when we get calls to go in and assist people, or if we're looking search and rescue or looking for activity, just use it to be able to kind of get the lay of the land.
Right. But as you were mentioning, if somebody gives you permission, don't leave the carcass in a very bad position. Work with the landowner. Those people are allowing you to hunt. Don't throw it back in their face.
Yeah, it's
That's just not a cool thing to do.
yeah, it just makes hunting look bad when people are calling us and saying, hey, there's 5 carcasses laying in the creek.
Yeah.
And we've gotten calls of just right out here on Doss Road, and it's not a pretty sight. You've got all types of people driving by, and so
Right.
It-
Isn't that good? All right.
it's
so
an eyesore.
But now we're talking about actual deer hunting season. The Share the Harvest program continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it really does a real good job of helping to feed people in the state of Missouri. That is still available, and a lot of times that's fully funded. Sometimes it's not fully funded. You may have to pay a little bit, but for the most part, virtually every county has a Share the Harvest processor, correct?
Yeah,
virtually every one of them does.
Pretty close. You can get in the deer rigs and find the actual one near you, but here Salem Butcher Shop does the processing, participates for us as the processor,
Right.
and then if you
You
take
can donate the whole deer, right?
the whole deer, yeah, they'll cover, the Conservation Federation of Missouri will cover the whole cost of whole deer donations, and then they may ask you to contribute a little if you're just donating partial,
Right.
like a part of the hams or something, partial deer donation. You may incur some of that cost, but a whole deer donation, if you take it out, they'll put you down on the list, and then they'll take your deer and process it. All you have to do is get it there, get it checked, make sure it's legal and everything, and take it out there to Tracy and the folks out there at the Salem Butcher Shop. They'll process that deer, and then it goes to our charitable organizations, Salem Church of Christ, and then the Grace
Mission.
or Faith Mission. I keep
I'm doing an awful lot of answering for you.
well, I've got too many places in my head.
Yeah,
But,
I understand that. There's a lot of them, right?
So those are our
Okay.
charitable organizations
Right.
that donate that.
So,
That,
and it really does help feed the people who need food in Dane County with
Yep.
a very, very good high protein meal. So,
And
please,
then-
if you have, especially a landowner, if you've got an extra deer and you got a freezer full, just donate the whole deer.
And then
Really,
if
really
you live in one of those counties where there's CWD, all those deer are being tested, so
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to allow CWD. If it turns out to be positive, it's not going to be in that donated meat.
donate
so,
to the Share the
yeah,
Harvest
so
program. So,
They're
very
they're taking a precaution there. So,
very good.
but
All right.
yeah.
It's a big time of year.
Yeah, and then our firearms season, it's only 10 days, November 10th through the 20th. So this year, the early youth, like I said, October 27th and 28th. So,
But we have special seasons.
and then the alternative methods.
Uh-huh.
We do not participate in the antlerless portion here in Dane County. Every year we get a few deer checked during that portion, and we have to remind folks that we do not participate in that antlerless portion. So just because, just get on there. It's on page 29 of the regulations. See if your county is open to the antlerless portion, and that's November 30th and December 2nd. But our alternative methods, which used to be the old muzzleloader season, but it's muzzleloaders, pistols, atlatls, and then handguns. Certain handguns, centerfire handguns, are able to be used as methods for the alternative methods portion. That's December 22nd through January 1st. So basically, we've got deer hunting opportunities from now till the first of the year.
Absolutely.
And then after the first of the year, January 15th is the close of archery. So
Very good. So a lot of different opportunities for people to do their hunting, and please be careful out there. And Jason, nothing has changed. Hunter Orange is still Hunter Orange.
Yep.
It is still
yeah, it's required.
something you've got to have.
Yeah, there's only you have to get in the book to see the the exemptions to wearing hunter orange, but during the firearms portion, everybody has to have hunter orange on
It just makes
while
sense
while
to wear it all
field,
the time.
and Dave and I have to work the accidents, so we do not want to have one. So
There you go.
So
Don't
yeah,
want to work the accident.
well, that's why we have the hunter safety courses, and then we just ask people to be safe and just think safety while you're out there afield, while you're hunter orange. In Missouri, we require a full colored hunter orange cap and vest, so to be in compliance with our regulation.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw something out there because I know this has happened before. People out there who happen to think that hunting is a social event that they can drink and shoot at the same time. What if you would find somebody who's out there drinking alcohol with a
Yeah,
and shooting at deer?
Yeah, it's illegal to possess a firearm if you're intoxicated.
Right. So what kind of
So, you're looking at unlawful use of a weapon.
Right. How
charge.
bad a fine can that be?
I mean,
And what
it can
happen?
you can be charged with a felony for unlawful possession or use of a weapon. So,
Take your license.
yeah, I mean, you can be up for revocation if you get enough points, and so yeah, it's never good to mix firearms and alcohol.
Well, not only
Yeah.
that, but not it's going to distort things. Number one,
Right.
and number two, it just doesn't make any sense. Why are you out there if you're going to trying to kill an object that you have to concentrate on? Why would you be out there drinking and trying to?
Yeah,
trying
save
to
that
impress
for
somebody. I don't know.
when you're out of the field
Yeah.
and back at camp, and you're not going to be leaving camp.
Yeah,
So.
just keep it right there. But anyway, we want to make sure no drinking and shooting. You never, and if you miss, you don't know where that bullet's going. So
Right.
please be very careful.
And then we get a lot of questions about, we have a handicap exemption form or a for disabled hunters, but we have a motor vehicle exemption. And a lot of people ask me, well, does that mean I can kill a deer out of a vehicle? Well, yes, but it has to be parked. It has to be on your own land. You can't be parked on a public roadway. There's we had one guy, he thought it meant he could drive down the road and shoot wildlife from it. So no, it means you can be on a motorized vehicle, but it has to be stopped with the engine off, and you have to be on not on a public roadway, or you have to be on basically private ground, or there's very few areas on Forest Service that you can get off of the public roadway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we run into issues there. We've had one guy, he just drove out in the middle of the forest, and I think we were with your LEO one year and had to deal with him. He made his own road out.
Yeah.
But he was claiming he had the exemption to hunt out of his vehicle, but we said, well, that doesn't authorize you to just make
Your own road.
make your own
yeah.
road. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well,
that road won't be on the motor vehicle use map. So.
No, and then not only that, but any damages he'd be paying for it as
Yeah.
well. You don't
Yeah.
want to be doing that. There was something in here. Oh, managed hunts. There are
Yeah,
still a
I was
lot of
gonna-
managed hunts out there, and people do need to apply for a managed hunt. It's not just something you say, hey, I want to go do that. You got to apply for it, right?
yeah, and the deadline was August 1st.
Right,
So
but I meant when they'll
But,
come
yeah.
up again next year,
Yeah.
and then when they do have managed hunts, make sure. And we've talked about this before. There may be a requirement that you actually have to go to a
Orientation,
meeting or an
yes.
orientation to find out more about that managed hunt. If you can't attend that, you can't hunt.
right,
So please check those dates and make sure that you don't put an application in for one and get it, because they're usually limited to 10 to 20 people.
yeah, it
sometimes.
depends on the number they allow, but that's a restricted number. And then if you're drawn or selected, then and you can't go, you need to let them know so they can fill those slots, because
Right.
a lot of times, like I was going to mention the Montauk, we're having another managed deer hunt at Montauk State Park. It's going to be December 12th and 13th. They're going to allow 40 hunters, and their goal is to harvest, or they're allowing a limit of 3 antlerless deer per hunter. So they're they've got a population in the park. They're trying to reduce that population because it's
A lot of deer down
it's taking effect. There's a lot of browse. You can see a browse line in certain parts of the park where the deer are just basically too crowded. There's
Yeah.
too many of them. So, but they only allow. I mean, you're not going to be able to hunt down by the mill or in the valley.
Right.
So if you got drawn for that hunt, just go to whatever's required of you. Go to that meeting, and then they've got a map of the approved area that's open to the hunters there.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
and then all the other regulations, the tagging and checking of your deer
Right.
will apply. So,
And if you do happen to have a disability, there are some disabled managed hunts as well that are sometimes in our area. They'll pop up occasionally. Usually one down around Clearwater Lake, and I think one down south of us.
they may have one on Peck Ranch, but I'm not.
Yeah, I
I'm
can't
not for
remember.
sure.
I remember seeing there were a couple in our area. So keep an eye out for them. You can see those on the Missouri Department of Conservation website. You can just go down there and
and they're all listed in our fall deer and turkey.
right, and
pamphlet.
click on those. And if you have an interest in that, or you have somebody who may be unable to get around except in a wheelchair or something, and then they can gladly apply for these.
And then some of our areas, like Indian Trail, we do have handicap designated blinds for deer hunting. So
and some areas
and-
already have that ready, and I was going to
Yeah.
mention that. But since you did, I don't have to mention.
Yeah.
See how good this is? We just compliment each other so well. All right. I don't have anything else on the
I think that's all
Okay.
I had.
The only thing I wanted to remind everybody is usually in October we always had a big vehicle sale. We always had a big surplus
Right.
sale. Those are no longer being held here in Salem. You need to go online and you can check those out, and you can buy them anywhere in the state now.
Yeah,
They're
bringing very few items, sale items to the Salem Maintenance Center now. It's usually going to be sold on site or at your regional office where the vehicle's out of. So,
right.
and then they're all posted online now. So,
Okay, very good.
and then sales are running constantly online. They'll open up certain items for bid, vehicles, equipment, and then so you can just get on there and look, and they'll have a time frame for you to bid on it.
Very good. All right.
And then,
sounds good.
And then to report the any activity, forced arson or poaching or anything that you feel that is not in compliance with regulations. If you see something on one of our areas or on somebody's property, just give us a call. You can remain anonymous. Our Operation Game Thief hotline is 1-800-392-1111. You can call me at 573-308-6173 and report it, and try to get as much information as you can, vehicle description, number of occupants. Do not try to confront those folks, because a lot of times they are armed. A lot of times they may be under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So we just ask you to remain safe. Just be a good witness, and threw my phone at you. And so anyway, just
be careful.
Just
with
try to
that.
get as much information as you can, and then when you call the hotline's available 24 hours a day. If you can't get a hold of us, just call them, or you can call the Missouri State Highway Patrol or the Denton County Sheriff's Department. Sometimes we're out and they can reach us by radio dispatch. So,
Very good. Well, we want everybody to have a safe and happy hunting season.
yep.
Very
And
good.
there's so many activities going on right now. Just pick one and enjoy.
There you go. All right, Jason, appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. I'm glad you canceled that class over there.
Yeah.
So that you can make it. Tom, as always, thanks you for coming in and spending some
Thank
time
you.
with us. Every first Thursday is our day to give with our Conservation Department and Forest Service to keep you informed about what's going on. Very busy time right now. So, again, we thank all of them for giving us a little extra time today, and hope all of you have a very happy and safe hunting season. Be careful out there, okay?
Thank you.
It's very,
Thank
very
you.
important. All right, keep it here at KSMO Radio. Our Civic Record is going to be coming up shortly right here on KSMO Radio, 1340. But first, it'll be our Bass Pro Outdoor program, brought to you as a courtesy of all of us here at KSMO Radio, 1340 AM, your hometown radio station. That is right now. It's now time for our Bass Pro Outdoor program, brought to you as a courtesy of KSMO Radio.